Imagine sitting in a conference room, right? And half the people there only speak in terms of like sales quotas and customer retention.
Oh, yeah. The business side,
Exactly. And then the other half, they only speak in, database architecture and system configurations.
the IT side. Always a fun mix.
Right. And if those two sides can't understand each other, I mean, a multi-million-dollar software project just completely fails.
It happens all the time, unfortunately.
Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at the SAP Business Analyst interview.
Yes, a very specific but highly important role.
Definitely. And our mission today is to give you, the listener, a clear step-by-step guide to exactly what interviewers are looking for.
Right, and how to actually stand out.
Yeah.
Uh,
So the fundamental concept from our sources that you really need to grasp is that an SAP Business Analyst acts as a bridge.
A bridge, exactly.
It's like you're a translator at the United Nations, but for corporations. You're the one connection between two completely different worlds.
Yeah, the business operations teams and the technical SAP teams, it really is a role of translation.
So in an interview, they're looking for that translation skill.
They are. I mean, an interviewer isn't just checking if you know your technical vocabulary.
Okay, what are they testing then?
They are actively testing whether you can take high-pressure business demands and, translate them into clear technical requirements,
Right.
and vice versa. They want to see if that connection holds up when both sides are frustrated.
Wait, I have to push back right at the start here.
Sure, go ahead.
If I'm applying for an SAP role, shouldn't my technical knowledge be the most important thing?
You would think so, right?
Yeah. I mean, why would an interviewer care more about my translation skills than my ability to just use the software?
It sounds kind of counterintuitive,
Yeah.
especially for a tech job. But think about what actually causes large IT projects to fail.
Okay. Bad coding.
No. It's rarely because the developers forgot how to write code. Projects fail because they built the wrong thing.
Oh, wow. Because they didn't understand the assignment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can be the greatest SAP expert in the world, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't understand how a company actually, ships its products from a warehouse,
Right. The actual physical process.
yeah, or how it pays its vendors,
Yeah.
if you don't know that, your technical skills are useless to them.
So the interviewer is trying to figure out if you understand the actual business processes.
Yes, before you even touch the technology.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. So the technical knowledge is just the baseline.
Right, it gets you an interview.
But to actually pass the interview, you have to prove you understand the reality of the business.
Exactly.
That makes me think about the broad skills companies are looking for. Our sources say the main evaluation areas are business process understanding, requirements gathering, stakeholder communication, and problem solving.
Those are the core skills. And when they ask you about these, they're really listening for the how.
The how. What do you mean?
Like, they don't just want to know your past job titles. They want to know the specific mechanics of how you do your work every day.
Ah, okay. Well, let's jump right into those mechanics, starting with requirements gathering.
A huge topic.
Right, because you mentioned projects fail when teams build the wrong thing.
Yeah, happens a lot.
So obviously the interviewer will ask, how do you figure out what the business actually needs?
And that is a trick question, in a way.
Is it? I mean, do you just say, I ask the business what they want and I write it down?
That is the most common mistake candidates make. A weak candidate acts like a waiter in a restaurant.
A waiter.
Yeah, the business user says, I want a new custom report. And the candidate just writes down one custom report and hands that order to the developers.
Oh, I see. They just take the order without questioning it.
Exactly. But an expert candidate acts like an analyst. They don't just take orders. They analyze the root cause of the request.
Give me a real-world scenario. Like, how do you explain that difference in an interview?
Okay, let's say they ask, how do you gather requirements? A strong candidate tells a specific story.
Okay.
They'll say, I don't just ask users what they want. I ask them to show me their screen and walk me through their worst Tuesday.
Their worst Tuesday. I like that.
Yeah. Imagine a business team telling you they desperately need an SAP button to print hundreds of physical invoices.
Right. So the waiter candidate just writes down build a print button.
Exactly. But the expert candidate asks why they are printing them.
And what do they usually find out?
Well, they observe the process and find out the team is printing invoices just to walk them down the hall to get a manager's physical signature on paper.
Wait, really? Just to sign a piece of paper?
Yes. And then they scan them back into the computer.
Oh, wow. So the process itself is completely broken.
Exactly. If you just build a faster print button in SAP, you haven't helped the company at all.
You just put a bad, inefficient process into a very expensive new system.
Right. So the expert candidate tells the interviewer, instead of building a print button, I worked with the business to implement digital signatures inside SAP.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, you tell them, we saved the company 10 hours a week and thousands of dollars on paper.
That is a massive difference. You're actually fixing the business before you touch the tech.
Exactly. When they ask about requirements gathering, they're secretly asking about process improvement.
So they want to hear your framework, like how you run a workshop or use process mapping.
Yes, process mapping is a great keyword. Explain how you draw out their current work, find the bottlenecks, and design a more efficient future state.
Prove that you are looking for a smarter way to work, not just copying their old habits.
Precisely.
Okay, I understand the strategy there.
Yeah.
But here is the catch.
What's that?
You can map out the perfect process on a whiteboard. It can look great,
Sure.
but eventually you have to convince a real human being to change the way they do their job.
Yes. The human element.
And people hate changing how they do their job. So how do interviewers test your ability to handle that resistance?
This is where we move from process analysis to stakeholder management.
Yeah.
And you're completely right.
It seems like it would be so frustrating.
It is often the hardest part of the job.
Yeah.
You're dealing with three very different groups.
The business users, the SAP developers, and the project managers.
Exactly.
Honestly, it sounds less like a tech job and more like being a diplomat or a hostage negotiator.
Sometimes it feels like that.
Right. You have a stubborn supply chain manager who refuses to stop using Excel.
Yep.
Then an SAP developer saying the manager's request is impossible.
Standard.
And a project manager yelling that everything is due on Friday.
That is a very realistic description of an SAP project.
Hmm?
And the interviewer wants to know how you navigate that exact chaos.
So what's the secret?
The key insight you must show is that you understand why these groups are fighting.
Because they have different goals.
Exactly. The business user just wants their daily job to be easier. They don't care about coding limitations.
Right, they just want it to work.
And the developer wants clear, logical instructions that fit the system. They don't care about office politics.
And the project manager just cares about the budget and the timeline.
Spot on.
Okay, so if I'm in the interview chair and they ask me, tell me about a time you managed difficult stakeholders, how do I answer that?
You have to explain how you adjust your communication style for each specific audience.
Adjust my style, like speaking different languages.
Yes, different professional languages.
Yeah.
So when you speak to that stubborn supply chain manager, you completely drop the tech jargon.
So no talking about SAP S/4HANA data migration.
Exactly. You talk about how the new system means they never have to manually update their Excel spreadsheet on a Friday afternoon ever again.
Focus purely on the business value, their personal pain points.
Right. And then you turn around and talk to the developer completely differently.
I see. So what do you say to the developer?
You tell the interviewer, when I talk to the developer, I use structured technical language. I give them clear data mapping rules.
Prove that you can switch styles depending on who's in front of you.
It's absolutely crucial.
Let me challenge that a little bit, though.
Okay, go for it.
What happens when it's not just a communication issue, but a real conflict?
A conflict over what?
Like, the business user demands a highly custom feature, and the developer says, no, we have to stick to standard SAP software. Custom code will ruin the budget.
The classic standard versus custom debate.
Right, you're stuck right in the middle.
Yeah.
How do you answer a question about resolving that conflict?
That is the ultimate test in an SAP Business Analyst interview.
Mm-hmm.
A poor answer is just saying, I tell the business user no.
Yeah, that won't make anyone happy.
A strong answer shows negotiation based on data.
Based on data, how so?
You explain that you sit down with the business user and ask them to quantify the value of their request.
Oh, like, how much money will this save us?
Exactly. If this custom feature will generate $1 million in new sales, you take that data to the project manager and say, the custom code is worth the extra budget.
Right.
But if the feature is just a personal preference like, they just want the screen to be blue,
Then you say no.
well, you explain the long-term maintenance costs of custom code,
Yeah.
and you guide them toward accepting the standard SAP process.
I love that. You rely on business value to settle the argument, not just opinions.
It shows you're an objective professional, not just a messenger.
Okay, so let's look at the timeline of a project.
Sure.
You mapped the perfect process,
Yeah.
you negotiated with all the stakeholders,
Second, sure.
the developers finally wrote the code and built the new system. It feels like the job should be done at this point.
You'd think so, but no.
Right. Our sources say interviewers focus heavily on the final phase, testing and validation, specifically UAT.
Yes, user acceptance testing. This is absolutely critical. You will definitely be asked about this.
Okay, so what do they want to know?
They want to know how you support UAT, how you handle defect management, and how you validate that the process actually works.
I'm a bit confused about the division of labor here, though.
How so?
Well, if the technical SAP team built the system, why am I involved in the testing? Doesn't IT have QA testers for that?
They do. And that's a really important distinction to make in the interview.
Okay, clarify that for me.
The IT team performs system integration testing. They check if the code compiles, if the servers are running.
Basically making sure the computer doesn't crash.
Right. But remember, the technical team doesn't actually work in the warehouse. They don't process the payroll.
Ah, they just build a tool.
Exactly. So who checks if the tool actually solves the original business problem?
The business analyst.
Yes. You gathered the original requirements, so you must be the one to ensure the final product matches what they asked for months ago.
Makes sense. UAT is the moment when the real business users try to do their actual jobs in the new system.
Yes, for the first time.
And I'm guessing when you put a brand new complex SAP system in front of someone who's never used it, they break it immediately.
Almost instantly. And that is exactly what the interviewer wants to talk about.
How you handle the crash.
Yes, defect management. When a user gets a big red error screen, what is your exact process?
How should a candidate answer that? What's the specific mechanism?
You need to show a highly organized workflow. First, you observe what the user did to trigger the error.
You don't just say, hey, it's broken.
No, you document the exact steps. Second, you translate that business error into a technical defect.
Give me an example.
The user says, I can't ship this product.
Yeah.
You translate that to the developer as, the material master data is missing a weight classification in this field.
We are right back to being the translator again.
You never stop being the translator.
Okay, so you observe, you translate. What's next?
Third, you explain how you log this error in a tracking system, like Jira or ALM. You assign a priority level based on business impact and track it until it's fixed.
And what about the user who's freaking out?
That's the final step. You manage their expectations,
Mm-hmm.
calm them down, assure them it's being handled, and schedule a retest.
That makes a lot of sense. You're managing the technical fix and the human anxiety at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a massive amount of ground regarding the content of the interview.
We have.
We know the technical steps, the psychology of the stakeholders, the UAT translation, but let's talk about the actual delivery.
How you package it all.
Yeah. How do you present all this knowledge when you're sitting in that chair? What separates the people who get the job from the ones who get rejected?
It really comes down to one primary factor: structured communication.
Structured communication.
Yeah. Top companies heavily penalize unstructured, rambling answers.
So if they ask a complex question about a failed project,
And you give a messy, confusing answer that jumps back and forth between tech jargon and vague business concepts, you will fail,
even if your technical knowledge is 100% correct.
even if you are completely correct.
And why is that?
Think about it from their perspective. The entire job of a business analyst is to take confusing information and make it simple for other people.
Oh, right.
If you can't explain a concept clearly to an interviewer in a quiet room, they'll assume you're going to give confusing explanations to business users during a stressful project.
Clarity is the job. So how do you guarantee that clarity? What framework should we use?
The most effective one is the STAR method, but you must tailor it specifically to SAP scenarios.
STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. Right.
Yes.
Can you give me an example of how that sounds in practice?
Sure. Let's use the UET defect scenario we just talked about. If they ask, tell me about a time you handled a project crisis.
You shouldn't just say, I'm really good at communicating during UAT.
Exactly, that's way too vague. Using STAR, you start with the situation. During the UAT phase for an SAP S/4HANA migration, our supply chain team was testing the new delivery process.
Okay, so you've set the scene clearly. What's the task?
We discovered a critical data mapping defect that prevented products from being marked as shipped, which threatened our go-live date.
Great. You explain the stakes, now the action.
This is where you focus on your specific role. I immediately sat with the user to document the error codes. I translated their business failure into a technical ticket. And while developers worked, I managed the manager's expectations with daily meetings.
Very structured. And finally, the result.
Because we structured the defect logging clearly, The developers fixed the error in 48 hours. The team passed the retest, and we hit our go-live date without losing any operational time.
That is incredibly powerful. You proved you understand SAP, you proved you can manage angry people, and you proved you know how to run UAT.
All in one clear, structured story.
It's a 1, 2, 3, 4-step process that just proves your mind is organized.
And notice the very end of that story.
The result.
Yes, the focus was on business value. We hit our go-live date without losing operational time.
Instead of just saying the bug was fixed.
Exactly. The bug was fixed is a developer's ending. A business analyst always focuses on how the company saved time, saved money, or helped the employees.
If you connect every technical answer back to the success of the business, you completely separate yourself from the average candidate.
100%.
Let's take a moment to look back at the journey we've just taken.
We've covered a lot.
We really have. We started with the foundational idea. The SAP Business Analyst is the ultimate translator between operations and technology.
The bridge.
To master this interview, you have to prove you can do much more than navigate a software menu. You have to show that your requirements gathering is actually deep process improvement.
Finding the broken systems before you digitize them.
Right, and you must prove you can manage the conflicting goals of stubborn end users, technical developers, and anxious project managers.
By speaking their specific professional languages.
Exactly. You have to show that during testing, you are the final guard ensuring the system actually delivers real business value.
And package it all up into highly structured star stories.
The successful candidate makes the interviewer feel confident.
They do. They prove they are the calm, rational link that will hold the whole project together when things get messy.
It is a truly unique position. I mean, it demands a high level of tech understanding, but the actual execution of the job relies so heavily on human behavior, negotiation, and empathy.
It really does.
Which leaves me with a final thought for you to mull over as you prepare for your next interview.
What's that?
Well, if the SAP Business Analyst's main job is translating between frustrated groups, identifying where people are secretly working inefficiently, and managing everyone's emotional expectations from start to finish,
Yeah.
does being a great business analyst mean you are actually just a great corporate psychologist?
I love that. It's a perspective every candidate should seriously consider before they walk into the room.
Right.
Understanding the software is expected. Understanding the people. That's what makes you indispensable.
Something to think about, for sure.
All
Thank
right.
you for joining us on this deep dive into the SAP Business Analyst interview.
It's been great.
Now that you understand the strategy, the structure, and the psychology of what interviewers want, you need the exact vocabulary to express it.
You have to sound the part.
Exactly. So make sure you check out the next video, which will teach you the specific, useful English phrases you can use in your SAP Business Analyst interviews.
Highly recommend it.
It will give you the precise B1 and B2 workplace vocabulary to sound as structured, clear, and professional as we just discussed. See you next time.